boy, this episode of JJK ended in a shocking fashion. Holy crap, I did not see Riko's death coming at all, especially when I first read it in the manga. It was an absolutely just insane out of nowhere twist that happens, and honestly, this is probably so far my favorite episode of season 2. So let's go ahead, let's jump into it, let's break down and analyze everything that happened in this episode. First off, I want to talk about this small opening sequence with Riko and the sea. It's really good foreshadowing for later on what happens in the episode, but as well, I like this theme of an aquarium in the sea throughout this whole episode. It very much plays on the whole freedom thing and theme that the sea is often used to represent in anime. So I still thought this was pretty good. The animation was killer. I thought in terms of the way they animated throughout this entire episode with, in particular, facial expressions, even more so than the action scenes, I think, was just incredible. Riko especially is a great example, along with Miss Kuroi, because both of them have just some of the strongest facial expressions I've seen in a little bit. So moving on, Gojo knows that through all of this, even though Miss Kuroi is taken, that they have the upper hand as they have, what they want. They have Riko. So it's kind of like, is this really going to be a challenge? And Riko even confronts Gojo and is like, no, I want to go with you guys. I don't want to stay back and be protected, which fits with Riko's character. She's sort of rebellious. She's a Chunibyo. She's, she's a know-it-all, right? And she feels very strongly about the things that she loves, because the things that she loves is, ironically, the things she cherishes the most in life, right? So she wants to protect those things. And as well, she doesn't have much longer to live. So she wants to be there every second of the day with Kuroi, and I couldn't blame her. But I think this also shows off her personality really well. She's just this gifted girl with a big heart, especially for her surrogate mother, of all people. So Gojo goes to Riko, hears what Riko has to say, and allows her to come, but they won't be easy on her, as this is a very serious thing to do. And we think, oh, it's going to go somewhere, but no, they actually deal with this and they save Miss Kuroi, and then they go to the beach. And it was just really funny. I love the juxtaposition between those two scenes. It just made it so much more humorous. And it is kind of funny how they just save Miss Kuroi. And they go to the beach immediately after that. It's such a quick recovery time. However, they are noticing something that is weird between Geto and Kuroi, who are on the beach right now, but they're talking about how, what is their goal here? They think they may be trying to take over the airport, but this whole situation was too easy. And it was so easy that it raised a lot of questions for them, but they just couldn't figure out what was happening. Of course, we know now that it was Toji Fushiguro that was behind a lot of these things. But Riko and Gojo basically have a lot of fun. I love Gojo and Riko's laughter as they're laughing at some sea creature that's spewing water. I have no idea. Is it a gooey duck? I have no idea. But either way, it was so fun. And I love as well how Gojo is weak to Riko and sort of conveys to me that Gojo is sort of a bleeding heart, especially for people like Riko. So I imagine he would be a very, very good father if he was one. But Riko, convinces him to let them stay, and even Geto tries to talk some sense into Gojo. But even still, he still keeps to what he said. He wants to see this out for Riko. And honestly, I couldn't blame him. I would give in to that almost immediately. It's such a really depressing and sad situation. You can't not do it. And to me, the scene that comes after this is just so peaceful. I love the music during this and all of the colors, the touch of the piano, with the light, feathery playfulness, with, these bright, punching colors that are green and blue, have this sort of serene, kind of peaceful, relaxing feeling as Gojo and Geto watch them, go and play and be so happy. This is so cute. Who wouldn't want to have this sight before them? It's so nice. Though as well, after this, we get another motif scene with the whole whale, sea aquarium thing, with Riko, and this entire thing was just so enthralling. It was such a nice touch what they did with her hair in this. She was walking and her hair was swaying back and forth, as you can see here, and I don't know, there's something about that part where I was like, dang, this is just really cool looking. To me, this whole motif and this theme here, what it means to me is that Riko wants to be free. Of course, this is just my theory. Put in the comments what you think it is. But I think this is showing the burden of her responsibility, how she can never be like those fish, because her destiny is not to roam the sea and do whatever she wants to do and be free. Her destiny is that of in the aquarium. She's the one inside of that. She's not exactly free. She's giving the idea of being free, but it's never fully delivered, and she's trapped basically like fish in a barrel, and she's just waiting for the one day that she has to merge with Tengen. It's a very sad realization for her, and that's how she was able to cope with it. And I found that so fascinating and so interesting how they were writing Riko's character in this episode. And this is the moment where the whole sea and aquarium thing made sense for me. So it was a very good scene. So they make it to the school barrier, and shockingly, almost immediately, Gojo is stabbed through the chest by Toji. I didn't notice in the previous episodes, I don't know how I didn't, but Toji here is being voiced by Zeke's VA, and that's just really weird to me. I don't know, something about it, when you first hear it, it almost doesn't fit, but the more the episode went along, I was like, oh, no, this is freaking rad. This is awesome. And you may be asking, well, how did he even get into the school barrier? Well, it was because he has no curse techniques. I did a whole video about this today, 25 Toji facts that I think you should check out, and explains a little bit of this, but he basically has heavenly restriction, which is said later by Gojo. As well, this also means that nobody can sense his cursed energy because Toji literally has zero cursed energy. And speaking of, when Gojo was a child, he was the only one to notice Toji, which he took, shocking exception to. He immediately remembered Gojo for the rest of his life, and that's probably one of the reasons why he remembers Gojo so much and he wants to take him out, I imagine. I imagine that's where most of all that started. But then there's this awesome shot of Toji standing on this mossy rock looking down at Gojo after their opening flurries, and it was just so... oh my god, this episode looks so freaking good. We also learn here that Toji was the one who put the bounty out for Riko, and as well, of course, that's where we learn that he has heavenly restriction. So Gojo uses his curse technique, the Lapse Maximum Output Blue, and it does pretty much as intended. It destroys everything in its paths. It pretty much disintegrates these buildings and the ground around them, creating like some donut shape in the ground. And this was just really good. If you had any doubts during this entire season so far of MAPPA producing really good animation for JJK, I think this episode for many people will put them to rest because, oh my god, this was amazing. So Gojo is then surrounded by curses and thinks that Toji is going for Riko, but he turns around and turns out Toji isn't. Toji uses that as an opening to attack Gojo, and he is then repeatedly stabbed through slashed from the neck through the chest, stabbed a whole bunch in his right thigh. It's really brutal to see because every time the blade punctures Gojo, a spew of blood comes out. It's very classic looking anime in that way, which I really respect. And we learn that the weapon that he used was the inverted spear of heaven. And basically what this does is it diminishes any ongoing curses or dismantles them, which is just absolutely overpowered. That's kind of like the blade, if you're familiar with Fate Stay Night, the blade that they use to kill Kirei in some of the routes. However, while this is happening, Geto is leading Riko and Kuroi down below to Master Tengen, and the two girls say their goodbyes to each other, and they say to each other they like each other the most, which I thought was really cute. I think once again it shows that Riko definitely thought of Kuroi as a mother, but also sort of as well maybe as a friend, as a sister, as a best friend even. Like, the way that they treat each other is just, it kind of goes beyond family. It's just this strong, inseparable bond between the two. And that's just so cute to see, and it's definitely a standout feature of this first couple of episodes so far in this arc. It really makes the tone of these episodes feel so much lighter when JJK usually isn't as light, especially when we get into some of the later parts in these arcs. And crazy enough, shockingly, Geto even tries to allow Riko to run away if she wants to, because Geto realized that their instructor sort of gave them hints to save Riko in his initial speech, like the way he used the verbiage of like erased. Geto and Gojo discussed this and if they should stop the merger. That's how they kind of came to the realization that they both believe that they're the strongest, that nobody can stop them, so they should give Riko this chance to do what she wants to do. It's her life after all. She has the final say in all of this. So, basically, Riko goes to accept Geto and is then shot in the head. Holy crap, you guys. This was absolutely insane. I loved this when I was reading it during the manga, and I loved it here in this anime. It was done so well. It was done perfectly. I love how the shot enters her head. Well, I don't like that part. I like how it destroys the braid in her hair, and the way it like... I like the way that Geto's reaction was to it, because it was delayed, because she was already shot, and he was still smiling. Just that nice attention to detail that Mappa is really good at doing. But in general, I just love that twist ending. I thought it was really good. And then after that, we see Toji, who killed her, confront Geto and tells Geto that he killed Gojo. So he's shocked. He's angry. He's already seen this girl die in front of her. I'm sure he believes in the back of his mind that Gojo definitely can't die. So Geto unleashes all of his curses. This was such good animation when Geto told him to die. But this is also interesting because of all the times we've seen Geto throughout the series, usually he wants to kill Gojo. Well, here, surprisingly in this, he wants to save Gojo. It's such a crazy thing to see, but it also fits really well. So, I don't know. I thought this episode was really well done. This definitely was the best episode of the season so far, but I want to know your guys' thoughts down in the comments below. What did you think about this episode? Did it impress you? Did it not? What do you think about this season so far, and especially that twist ending? I would love to hear your thoughts on all of that in the comments below. If you haven't already, please do check out my Patreon page where I cover One Piece arc by arc. We are getting the Arabasta video done. It is over 25 pages total. So you definitely don't want to miss out on that. Become a patron, subscribe and ring the bell, like the video. Thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.